Citizens of the North American Empire. No, that's Sundays. Today is, in fact, Thursday. I am a ScreamingWyvern. And this is Solo RPG Thursdays. Today, I am hoping to introduce you to Xenobotanist Rise of the Vines by Slug People Games. I have been pretty excited about this one because it is a strategic role-playing game that picks up where the previous episode, 2 weeks ago, I was doing charity work last week, so nobody can get mad at me, where that left off, with me having found some of the first flora that existed pre-civilization. Unfortunately, in this one, that flora has become revolting. No, that flora has begun revolting and is going to do its best to take over my ship, which seems like a darn shame. So, like I said, this is a strategic role-playing game. The role, of course, comes from the fact that I will be taking a role as the captain of a research vessel. And without too much more ado, let's switch to the gameplay screen. Go ahead and start off popping out the game. Now playing Xenobotanist Rise of the Vines, Slug People game. Lovely, lovely company. All three people involved. So we've got a married couple who started out trying to be board game influencers and then decided to start making games on their own with the assistance of a, well, depending on who it is, brother or brother-in-law, so kind of 50-50 on that when you're dealing with a couple. What else did I want to bring up? Oh, number one, very useful piece of information. I previously played a game by them called Mortar and Pestle, which I absolutely loved. Number two is the Xenobotanist games are unfairly priced. When I say unfairly priced, I mean to the writers, because these games should all be at least $5, but they are in fact free. So if you like what you see, make sure that you find a way to support them, since they're being silly. And let's go ahead and start looking over these rules. So, Xenobotanist, Rise of the Vines. As a Xenobotanist, you travel through the universe seeking out new and undiscovered plant life. You care for specimens you have collected from your travels in the space house. The space house, yes. Spaceship's greenhouse, the space house. You care for the specimens you have collected from your travels in the spaceship's greenhouse. The greenhouse itself has become a frustrating place to work lately. The lighting... Yep, that was nearly lightning. The lighting is never right. There is not enough space for those plants that you need to trail on the floor, but at long last, you have just had the greenhouse remodeled. So these and other setbacks should be vastly improved. But now you have a new problem to worry about. Once the most secure area on the ship, the greenhouse has become overrun with vines that seem to have a will to escape and spread as far as they can. You have 12 turns to keep your entire spaceship from being overtaken by vines. I am going to use my friend, the Tabletop Simulator, Let's go ahead and move this slightly underneath the... That's a good place for it. Okay, so that's how I will track the turns I have taken. You'll need a standard set of 52 playing cards, jokers removed, which you can see here, and one six-sided die. If I flip this over, you can see that it is, in fact, a six-sided die due to the number 6 appearing. If we roll it, then it's a five-sided die. Okay. So, I have two choices for schematics. The first option is that all the plants are grown along the walls of the greenhouse, or I can have them each done in their own biome. I am going to go ahead and use the default one. I don't know why I say default, because that just it's just the first one. It's number 1. 1 is not necessarily the default. It is the loneliest number you can ever do. Choose a floor plan for the greenhouse. Note the 3 squares on the borders of each schematic. These are the hydraulic doors of the greenhouse, which allow entry into or out of the general corridor. The general corridor runs throughout the spaceship, separating each room. To get from one room to another, one has to cross the general corridor. Roll a single 6-sided die, and we'll go ahead and use this one, obviously. This value corresponds to the section of the greenhouse from which a plant is escaping. The plant is able to manipulate one of the hydraulic doors of the greenhouse into opening, allowing it to escape into the corridor. The door closes behind that plant. So 2, that means that they went out door B. I'll go ahead and use a go token to represent that. Shuffle the deck of playing cards and place them in a pile in front of you. This is what shuffling looks like. And then draw a hand of 5 cards from the unknown, that vast, unlimited resource. Let's go ahead and draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so these right here are going to be my tools in this game. So these, obviously we're going into this later, but the red cards, I believe, are strategies. The numbered cards allow me to move between areas, and the face cards allow me to actually uproot vines safely and gently. We don't want to damage it, no matter how much it wants to kill me. And these are items which I can use to protect myself. And that brings up a good point. You start the game in the greenhouse. That means I need some version of a meeple. Let's go ahead and go with the classic orange meeple. Orange being reasonably close to gold, which is the kind of wyvern I used to call myself. And let's go ahead and increase this so that I can actually... I think I resized that on accident. I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay, move around a couple of things. There's my die, there's my meat. Okay. So, already seen these. First, the plants take action. Then you take action to thwart the plant's action. So, they may unlock a door. I'm going to go ahead, because it's 3 turns. How do I want to signify that? Oh, let's not overcomplicate things. Let's not open the wrong menu either. Objects, let's go ahead and grab a set of 4-sided dice. And as they open the doors, I can just go ahead and flag that. Okay. So let's go ahead and start off with the important concept of planning the round. Okay. So the plant is, we are going to see if any of these guys have opened the door. And a 3 means that they have unlocked door C. For 3 turns. Okay. If any door is unlocked, roll 1 6-sided die. That value corresponds to the section of the greenhouse from which a plant escapes. And so that's going to be from over here. I'm not completely sure yet. For this part, if where it comes from matters. Any plants that escape into their corridor wait there for their chance to open another room. For each plant that is in a corridor, roll 1 6-sided die. This one just came out, so we're going to go in ahead and do this new one. 3. Apparently we like 3s. It enters the cabin. Which makes me think I need to go ahead and... Okay. Nobody said anything about the tokens growing. Once there are 2 different plants infiltrating the same room, they're considered as having overtaken that room. Trying to take it back now is a lost cause. All you can do is protect the other rooms. I am going to go ahead and pull up the PDF elsewhere. So it doesn't have to take the primary view. Okay. During your turn, you may take an action by playing up to 1 resource from your hand. Each played card should be immediately discarded. And as I remembered, the dark suits are objects and the red suits are strategies. So what I have in my hand right now, I've got a 5 of clubs. A 5 of clubs is frayed wiring. With the electrical supply kit in your hand, can be used to rewire a door lock so that it can no longer be unlocked, must be used in the greenhouse. So that's useful. Except I have to have the electrical supply kit as well. So not going to be able to use that quite yet. The Jack is plant observation data. The entire work of your career condensed into figures, tables, and text provides direction and guidance. Draw 5 resources from the unknown, and you can trade cards from your hand into with those cards. So And then, yes, exactly as I remembered, I can move out into the corridor or with a numbered, or I can remove a vine from a room or corridor with a face card. Playing up to 1 resource. Yes, exactly as I thought. And then there's some optional rules if you need to make things easier or harder, but I am going to start with the default. So, I'm going to go ahead and play the Jack. That immediately gets replaced. And then I'm going to pull out 1, 2, 3, put it over here, 4 and 5. Flip, 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 flip. Okay. So that gives me the opportunity for 1 removal. So obviously I'm going to trade that out right away. Okay, the Jack is the same thing that I just used. The King. The King is a mini biosignature scanner used to learn more about the plants farther away from you. That lets me... Basically, it lets me draw 1 card. So it's like the Jack, only the Jack is 5 and the King is just the 1. The Queen is the same situation, and the Ace is a lovely... The Ace lets me go ahead and lock all the doors, so you bet your bippy I'm going to be keeping that. But first, 10 is an old dusty tome. It imparts knowledge. Yeah, it's another opportunity to replace. Okay, I've got a Jack there, which lets me draw and replace with 5 cards. So I kind of want to keep that. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the 10 that I just drew. 7. 7 allows you to travel from one room to another without having to cross the corridor, which means that absolutely I want that. I am going to make a poor choice and go ahead and replace both of my move options with these items. Okay, so that was my turn. So the question here, okay, let's go ahead and rotate this down to 2. So first off, we're going to see if any other doors get unlocked. 6, so no new doors, but we still have an open door right there. It's coming from up here. So this one is a fresh plant. So where does this one go? This one goes into the galley. It is trying to remove access to food. Okay. So we have 2 rooms partially not taken per se, but kind of in danger of that. So what I need to do is go ahead and get stuff removed. What I can also do is play the ace. Lock all greenhouse doors. They cannot be unlocked until the end of the next round. So that would remove this die and give me 1 round of freedom. So let's go ahead and clink that over. So that means this die goes away. We'll go ahead and mark these as closed for the moment. Obviously, I still have Binky here. And that's the end of my turn. So, plants cannot leave the greenhouse, so that's good. Let's see if Binky here decides to go somewhere. With a roll of 3, it goes into the cabin. Unfortunately, that means I can no longer go into the cabin. It has been completely overtaken by vines. So, even if I do win, I'll be sleeping in the cockpit from here on out. So I can't technically move yet, except I have this 7. So I'm going to use that to go immediately into the galley. Semi-immediately, because I have problems with my token. So as long as the galley doesn't get attacked, which, given the fact that I have locked all the doors, shouldn't be a problem, I'll be able to use one of these face cards. Also, I need to replace the card I just drew, or just disposed of. And there's a nice movement card for me. Okay. Round 4. So they have the opportunity to unlock a door. They get door B, and that is for 3 turns. And that, of course, means that we've got 1 guy out in the corridor. So they can't move. So I need to stop staring at the board because nothing there is happening. So I am going to carefully remove this plant from the galley. Rotate this to 2. And since that's still open, they have another chance. 5. No effect. No new doors unlocked. So where does this guy go? He goes into the laboratory. The plant is going to run experiments on the plant. That seems dangerous. Okay. I really need to remember to replace my cards. Okay, so now I have 2 of the frayed wiring, but none of the electrical supply kit. So I cannot use them yet. Let's go ahead and move me into the corridor. Because, you know, they're thin, I'm going to do the same thing as here and just use the outer box as the corridor. Okay, I now have a laser pointer of sunlight used to persuade one plant in your current room or corridor to go back into the greenhouse. Strangely enough, it can only be used outside the greenhouse. No infinite loops today, I'm afraid. So yeah, I'm on turn 6. I've lost 1 room, but things are looking just fine right now. We all know that's the way to give the GMs 5 nat 20s in a row for the creature. Okay. Rotate this down. Do they do a... do they do a new door 6? So they don't do anything. We have this guy here, and he can go, well, he has decided to go into the laboratory, which means I have lost the laboratory. So I cannot currently move. So the phrase, I don't know which room to move into, is currently unimportant. I think I'm going to do some card swapping. I don't need these 2 if I have no electrical supply. So let's go ahead and grab 1, 2, 3. Actually, the first one goes into my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip these over. And what does that give me? Okay. So I'm probably going to want that ace, since it's a face card. I just realized what this is. This is the previously mentioned electrical supply, which means I can now use these. That means that I'm going to be able to completely, permanently lock one of the doors. 2 of the doors, since I have 2 of those. So I'm going to be spending 2 turns moving locks or breaking locks. So I'm going to go ahead and discard that and replace it with this. So destroy a lock, destroy a lock. This lets me lure a guy out of the corridor. So basically my hand gives me very good odds of keeping the situation under control. So I don't think that I am worried about any of these. Okay. Good times for me. But what about the planets? Is it a good time for the planets? A 1. That means that we are going to go ahead and open up door A. And that means that we get a plant coming out. We currently have a plant in the area. And a 2 is the laboratory. I'm going to rule that if it can't enter, or if it doesn't need to take a room, it's a reroll. 4 is the galley. Misa back, it says. Okay. I am the idiotest idiot who's ever idioted. I need to be in the greenhouse to use these. Now, I can literally if this is in my hand, I can use this and this to destroy a lock. I can then use this to destroy a lock. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and use the 2, which is the sunlight laser pointer, to make Binky here go back into the greenhouse. 8. An 8 is an old botanical text, which is a... It basically means that there is something random that happens. So I'm going to play that. I'm going to draw a card. If I can use that immediately, I use it immediately. So maybe something good, maybe something bad. We don't know. But since somebody forgot that they needed to actually get into the greenhouse, so if this was a full game with the Dungeon Master and everything, after we destroy the door locks, how do we get out of the greenhouse? But we'll ignore that for the moment. It's a locked door mystery. It's very exciting. Okay. Turn counter go up. Door counter go down. Binky go out. I'm calling that a 3. Which is door C is now unlocked, which means Binky 2, the Binkening. But since they're both freshly out in the corridor, neither of them can go anywhere. So we're going to go ahead and play that 8. Draw a card from the unknown, and if it can be played immediately. So I think I need to replace that. Yeah, I thought I was supposed to have... You must have 5 cards and only 5 in your hand at all times. Okay, perfect. So I replaced that card. And I have a 3. That means that I can immediately get into the greenhouse for next turn. Okie dokie. So now there's me in here, 2 plants out there. I am actually very close to Good Game LOL. Let's go ahead and roll this. And it is a 2, which means that I now have all of the doors open. So even though I'm in a position to get those out, I have a mad dash of plants next turn. So let's see what happens with these 2. 3, that enters the cabin. I can't enter the cabin. That enters the laboratory. It can't enter the laboratory. That enters the engine room. Yes, you can enter the engine room. I would rather you didn't. Okay. You're not doing anything. So let's go ahead and put all you squeaky things up here for the moment. I just opened that one. I forgot to count these 2 down. Okay. My turn. I'm going to go ahead and use one of those. I am going to lock... I'm going to go ahead and lock door B. I'm going to lock door B by throwing an entire container of tokens into it. Okay, so door B, that actually represents that it is now locked, which would be far more exciting for me if I didn't have so many plants, because 1, 2, 3, 4, they're in a perfect position unless I get a lot of 6s. Now, I could theoretically go out and grab 1, but that's going to be 2 turns. So, not quite as convenient. The queen is replace 1. Yeah. So we know we're getting 2 new ones into the corridor. Move that out of the way. Rotate that down to 1. So basically, if they do door C, I think it's only fair for me to flag this as 3 extra turns. Okay. So now the period of pain. I want 4 6s is basically what it comes down to right now. That is a 5. A 5 is the engine room. That is a 4. That is the galley. That means that I just have the 1 place. So I have to roll until I get a 1 or a 6. You know what? I think that a different kind of die is needed here. Okay, so heads, they move into the cockpit. Tails, they don't. Heads, they move into the cockpit. Tails, they don't. And boom. The game is now over, and the plants have won. It is just how life works sometimes. So round one has ended up in my the opposite of in my favor, the absolute opposite of being in my favor. So let's go ahead and mark that. We'll go ahead and play best out of 3. You can go here. Okay, so what have I learned? Hanging out in the corridor and grabbing the vines as they go through is not a terrible plan. I probably tried to rely on that jack more than I should have. And I think that's the main lessons I have learned. So let's go ahead and give you one more nice riffle shuffle. And draw. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, a lot of things that we've seen before. The ace is the reinforced door lock, which gives me 1 turn of safety. The king is a replace one of your cards. The 7 is the portal, so that lets me go directly into a room. So I don't really like the king. That's going to be kind of a dead card because I would waste a turn taking advantage of that. So I don't currently have the ability to remove anything. So round 1, we go ahead and we see where our first guy is going out, and he's going out door B. So for whatever it's worth, we have 1 guy next to door B. Okay. I can move out into the corridor. I think for right now, okay, I think for right now, I need to let the plants have their turn. So first off, does a door get unlocked? Yes, it does. That's door A. So we have a new vine. And then our starting guy is entering the laboratory. So I can't currently drop anything. I'm going to go ahead and play the king. It's probably not the best plan, but it lets me replace it for starters. And so right now I have a screwdriver, which can if I am in the greenhouse, I can use it to lock all the doors. So it's like the ace, only I have to be in the greenhouse. The 3, a mirror into a pocket dimension. You open a mirror that displays a pocket dimension where you are still on the spaceship, but 15 minutes in the future, you get some ideas from the mirror's reflection. Draw 3 resources from the unknown. So it's the Jack, but it's only 3 cards, which is still technically wonderful, but I think I'm kind of happy with what I've got left. Okay, so on my next action, I have the ability to go ahead and give me a round of protection from, well, the number one thing, of course, being that I get to lock that. Okay. Beginning turn 2, we go ahead and retote. I will just go ahead and make up words now. I rotate that. You are out in the... I'll do it this way. Okay. Do any other doors get unlocked? 2. Yes, it's 2. So doorway and door B, doorway, door A and door B are now both unlocked, which means someone can sneak through there as well. And this guy is going to just sit there. That's good. I like that. Okay, I am presently in the greenhouse. I have a screwdriver. I will go ahead and play the screwdriver to lock the doors until the end of next turn. I don't actually need to put those on there, but it makes me feel like I've done something useful. Okay, so we skip the unlock phase. We have the 3 guys here. So our top person has gone into the cockpit. Our middle person... Is it rude of me to call plants people? That's kind of a problem for the vegetarians to analyze. And we're definitely going to say that's a 5. So that's the engine room. So I have single people in a couple of places. This is the 4 that I was playing. Not the 4 that makes me a big cheaty poopy head. Just stack, thank you. So I can somehow magically head into the corridor. The 7 would allow me to go directly into a room, but without a red face card, there's not much I can do with that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip through what was the Jack? The plant observation data. Okay, so I still don't have many options. So I know I don't want the queen. Having a second ace is a good thing. I have enough move cards right now. What is the 2? Laser pointer of sunlight. That lets me take a plant and get them to go into a different room or go back to the greenhouse. Those are useful as heck. So I'm going to at least take one of those, but if I throw away the other one, then it's lost forever. Same goes for the door locks. I know last time I made a huge mistake by getting rid of all of my movement cards. And this time I'm going to make the same mistake. So go me. Basically, I'm reading that the laser pointer of sunlight works the same way as a face card, or a red face card. So I don't think I'm making any bad decisions here. Okay, end of turn 3. No plants in a random location. They have to unlock a door first, and they do not. So everything is hunky-dory here. I'm going to go ahead. Technically, rooms are rooms, and it doesn't matter, but I'm really uncomfortable with them being in the engine room. So that's where I will hopefully kick them out of. There's our wires. So if I end up with a new 6, then I can make a door permanently closed. Turn 5 begins. So no doors are unlocked. So on my turn, I use that to chase this guy out of the engine room. And hypothetically back into the greenhouse, although since there are no actual open doors, who knows how it gets in there. 9, mortar and pestle. I got that reference. Used to grind up ingredients that deter plants from entering the room you are currently in. So That feels like the most boring way of winning ever. Yes, I go ahead and grind up the ingredients, and the plants can't come into this room as long as I'm in here, so I can't lose. Technically accurate, but lame. Okay. Beginning round 6. No plants in the corridor. And they have opened up door C. So there's a new guy heading out. Except I'm going to go ahead and block the doors for a turn. So round 7, the only thing that can happen is this guy can go into the galley. The galley is now closed. No eating for me. I forgot to. Okay, there's a nice face card. So I still can't currently move. I could keep the doors locked for another round, and I don't see a downside to that plan. Okay, so plants move, nothing happens. I'm going to go out into the corridor. So, currently from the corridor, I can use the laser pointer to chase someone off, or I can uproot them. So I am in a very good position right now. And door C is open. No one can move. I go ahead and use the laser pointer to chase you off. Actually, I've been kind of keeping track. Why am I keeping track? I don't know exactly what I'm keeping track of there. And replace that card. Okay. Wow, I am in a very good position right now. You need to rotate down to 2. That was hilarious. But the point is, the roll did come up as a 6, which means no new unlocked items. If only I could walk into a room, I'd be set. But no, I'm stuck out here in the corridor, so I can't clear out the cockpit or the laboratory. But... oh, one of these was keeping score. Did I go for that? No. So I've got the mortar and pestle, which doesn't help. I've got the frayed wiring, which doesn't help. And I've got 3 ways of disposing of things. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that I can just replace a card. And now I start turn 11. 2. They unlock door A. No, door B. So I now have 2 freshly out of the courtyard creatures. And then I go ahead and I disperse 1. And that brings us to our final turn. No new doors are opened. Ah! There we go. But, stop that. That rotates down to 1. That rotates down to 2. So, same thing as before. I go ahead and I uproot one of these. Because they're fresh this turn, they can't move, which means this time I have made it to my research laboratory safely, which means that the plants have lost one, and the plants have lost 1. So this one is for all the marbles. Clean up. Put my person back into the greenhouse. And shuffle that puppy all the way up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We start off with... I'm not going to roll for where they came from, because that hasn't shown much usefulness yet. So let's check if they unlock a door. That looked so much like it wasn't doing any rolling at all, but regardless, door A is open, which means I have 1 guy get out. Those 4s. What are those 4s? Those are screwdrivers, so I can lock the doors. Forgot to do that. And our guy who's already out there is heading to the galley, which for some reason is everybody's favorite place. Last time when I played the first Flora, I kept landing on cards which caused my galley to spring a leak, which lost me food. So now the plants have pretty much every time overrun the galley. So it feels a little bit targeted at this point. Just a tiny smidgy bit targeted. So I can move, I can remove, or I can jam a screwdriver into the system to lock the doors and keep them locked until the end of the turn. So that means that during their lock check, nothing happens. We have a guy running around outside again, so he heads to... He just stays there. That's nice. He'll just sit there. The mirror into the pocket dimension is a replacement. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Draw one replacement and put out 1, 2, 3 potential new options. Well, neither of those are useful. I've already got 2 movement cards. 6, the electrical supply kit. So I could permanently close a door. So let's go ahead and take that. Something's not quite right with these numbers. Okay, so we're now on turn 3. And I am a cheating punk. 6. So no doors are unlocked. We've got one guy who's hanging out here, and he heads to the cabin. I'm going to go ahead and skip the next unlock phase again. Draw a replacement. So what I'm kind of hoping for here is to get the 5s before I use the 6, and now that I've got that jack, that could happen. Okay, so round 4, there's no unlock phase, there's no one already in the corridors. We go ahead and we play that. Replace immediately, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so right off the bat, I don't care about either of these things. You I like. You I very much like. And you are effectively just another draw 1. So that's a move. That's a cleanup. I think we're good with that. Okay. So we now do have a proper unlock check. 5 means that nothing gets unlocked. It's all on me. I don't currently have... Let's go ahead and put me into the corridors. And that lets me move back if I want to. Okay, turn 6, unlock check. No unlocks. Do I want to stay here? For if a door does get unlocked? No, let's go ahead and be really mean to the plants and go into the galley. Continuing that joke from before, as it were. Okay, unlock check. No unlocks. It's my turn, so I can go ahead and deal with this dashing young gentleman, as it were. And right now I have many ways to deal with problems, and not many problems to deal with. Okay. One more roll. No unlocks. I don't really have too much to do, so let's go ahead and skip the next unroll, or next unlock roll. Okay, 1. So door A is open. There's a guy in the corridor. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pass my turn. Queen. Let's say draw 1. Okay. So we'll move you. You go out the door. You go down 1. And there is door B is active. Okay, what does this little friendo do? I hope he goes into the galley, because that will be funny. He doesn't do anything, which is also kind of funny. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that, and that also. So what is the 8? That is the old botanical text, which lets me draw a card and immediately play it. So I replace a card and then get another option. Do I could really use just a basic move. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I can't say right now I'm quivering in fear. So those 2 move on. 2 come out. We see if it unlocks door C for... It does not. Okay. So plant number 1 on the top. It goes into the engine room. That one doesn't go anywhere. And the bottom guy goes into the cabin. The cabin is no longer available for use. So I'm going to go ahead and use the move card so that I am also in the corridor. And then I can move into the greenhouse if I need to. Okay, turn 11. Not that it matters who that was, but it seems polite. So we've got 2 freshly moved into the corridor. Whoops. The door locks. And we go ahead and see what all these people do. Roll number 1 is a 5. So the engine room is now currently overrun. A 6 means that they don't do anything, and a 5 gets re-rolled, and that goes into the cockpit. So I go ahead and use this to take out one of the remaining guys from the corridor. So, final turn. I have two guys in the corridor. One guy just got out, and then they opened this, but yeah, I don't think that means another person got out. So we have the two plants. There's our guy entering the galley, which was recently abandoned. So that's funny. And can't do the engine room. Cannot do the cabin. That's already been overrun. And now the cockpit is auto overrun, although we're assuming this thing works on autopilot. I go ahead and use this to chase this guy back into the greenhouse, and that is another token for me. Plants 1, me 2. So, based on how the first round went, I feel like this is a perfectly challenging game. We do have some options, so this is exactly what I was kind of thinking. If you're playing with schematic 1, so the door can be open, but the plant, I have to roll 3 or 4 before they actually can escape. So no problems there. There's also the option to go ahead and make some of the rooms more useful. I do like that, although didn't end up needing it too much. Or to make it more difficult, do an actual win condition where you clear all the areas outside of the greenhouse and you lock the greenhouse doors in your 12, and that would be a tough one. And then there's a point system if you want one. I would be 2 or more plants. Yeah, they can keep going into that room. That's nice. We could, end up with like this huge stack of little I didn't play it that way because it going in there, that was a difficulty increase, I thought. And then of course there is our map. So I think that 3 games was an excellent evening. So yeah, once again, you want slugpeoplegames.com, as you can see at the bottom of the screen here. The Xenobotanist games are free, although the publishers certainly deserve all the love you can give them. And I'm not actually sure yet what's going to be playing on our next Thursday, but I'll have that announcement one way or another on Monday. So keep your eye on youtube.com/@ScreamingWyvern, ScreamingWyvern, as shown up on top. And Monday around 6:30 p.m. Pacific, we will have an indicator of what I'll be playing on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. But for now, please to enjoy going to Slug People Games and checking this out for yourself. And regardless, I'll see you next Thursday. And remember, you got to be one of the good ones, because, especially right now, there are way too many of the bad. See you next week.